Good afternoon, folks. Meteorologist Jamie Kagol here with a look at the forecast. We're going to be live streaming here for a bit. Going to go over, well, our weather impact alert and the possibility and the likelihood of some scattered showers, thunderstorms, some pretty good downpours. We're going to be watching for some hail threats out there, but there are also going to be some tornado threats in parts of western and northwestern Minnesota. So first of all, weather impact alert. We'll take it through midnight if necessary. I think for the Twin Cities, we're going to be talking closer 8, 9 o'clock. We could see those storms trending a little further to the south at that time, getting a little closer to Highway 14 and the I-90 corridor, but do plan on there being some pretty significant rainfall with these thunderstorms. Some pretty impressive downpours expected. So here's a closer look at your weather impact alert. Afternoon, evening, showers, thunderstorms, downpours. The severe weather threat is going to be a bit limited for eastern Minnesota and western Wisconsin. It is a little bit higher for western Minnesota. So for the Twin Cities, there's going to be the possibility of some hail, some wind gusts. But like I said, we're going to be watching west central Minnesota and even a little bit of northwest Minnesota for that tornado threat later on today. So as we go through the rest of our afternoon, our low pressure center is still tucked away up to the northwest. Around those lows, you have a pretty good amount of shear. It's a rotational wind. Lows naturally, you're going to find that. So our tornado threat up here, it extends a little to the south and southeast direction. I'd throw Alexandria in there, maybe getting close to Brainerd right now. But these isolated cells here right now, so far, things have been quiet. We'll see if we get any severe thunderstorm warnings coming up over the next 15, 20 minutes, whatever it might be. We have had some clearing and some sunshine to southwest Minnesota, and that's why we see these thunderstorms trying to expand back to where that heat is. Up here in northwest Minnesota, hasn't been quite as warm because of that cloud cover. Here's a look at the current temperatures. We do have some 60s and some low 70s mixed in with some upper 50s. So cloud cover and rain cooled air. That is lowering the severe weather threats in this part of the region right now. If we get some breaks in that cloud cover and we get these numbers to pop, that can lead to that destabilization once again and kind of reset the atmosphere and get it primed for some thunderstorms. Now, keep in mind, this area low pressure that we have up here isn't moving through. This isn't like a cold front. It's not pushing through and getting out of here. It's going to be lingering even into Wednesday. So we will have an environment that still has the dynamics for it. So concern would be, again, for those temperatures to pop in northern Minnesota. Meanwhile, go to I-94 into the southwest, and it is clearly a summer day. Upper 70s to about 90 degrees. Right now, Wilmer at 90. So there's the heat. We do have a limited amount of humidity, a limited amount of moisture across our region. And again, you can see that rain cooled air and what it's done to those temperatures around Alexandria, towards Brainerd, even Grand Rapids. But the untapped atmosphere is all down here. Southwest, south central Minnesota, even for the Twin Cities. So over the next 12 hours, our chances for thunderstorms will be there as you go from 2 to 4, 6, all the way up to about 8 o'clock, maybe hanging in there to 9. It'll depend on how far south our front sags and where that focal mechanism, that trigger mechanism, ends up lying down. And maybe just south of the metro, closer to 8, 9, 10 o'clock. And that would put us in the clear, but then you have a better chance for thunderstorms. Places like Faribault and Northfield and Owatonna and Mankato direction, Le Sueur, even towards Red Wing and Hastings as we get into the later part of our evening and into those overnight hours. So still anticipating temperatures to remain cool to the northwest. And like I said, that'll bring down the severe weather risk. But from about St. Cloud south, we're still in prime territory for at least strong thunderstorms, quite possibly even some severe weather. But as we take a look at some of the convection outlooks, the severe weather outlooks, you'll see that really western Minnesota is favored. You got a couple of fronts located in there. And again, here's your shear environment, northwest Minnesota. So all of this right here plays into that shear environment that thunderstorms thrive off. They love the heat, they love humidity, that's their fuel. But if you have shear, that means you can keep those thunderstorms going for a while. It gives them a longer life. Longer life means greater potential for strong storms, severe weather. Most of this is accelerating to the east right now, but our trigger mechanisms are still back to the west. So going a little bit closer right now, and then there we go. We do have some pockets of sunshine, Fargo, Bemidji, even towards Alexandria. You're probably just starting to see some of that clear. We could see the atmosphere destabilize. It's only 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so there is time for that to happen. But right now, moderate, even heavy rainfall coming across parts of Crow Wing, Aiken County, Mille Lacs, Kennebec County. But as you go back to the southwest, that's where you get into those isolated or discrete thunderstorms. Those are the troublemakers. Those are the ones we are really concerned about. Again, because we still have a little bit of shear out there. We still have some rotational potential. We could see quick spin-up tornadoes in parts of west central, northwest Minnesota. But for the meantime, it's just been pockets of heavy rain. We have not seen any reports as of yet, and I can keep an eye on the feed coming in from the Weather Service here. So far, no reports of any hail with these thunderstorms. That being said, there is going to be the potential for it. So let's go in a little bit closer. And again, Wilmer, you're pretty quiet right now, even Montevideo. But as you move to the northeast, that's where, again, just pockets of heavy rainfall, a little bit of lightning mixed in there. And some of those that have that clustering of lightning, that's a good sign that you have a strong and mature thunderstorm. The one we've been watching very closely is just to the east of Litchfield at this time as you look into Meeker County and then move into Wright County towards Cokato. So again, heavy rainfall, quite possibly a little bit of hail embedded with that cell between Litchfield and Hutchinson right now up to St. Cloud. It's moderate to even heavy showers, a few claps of thunder there. And we're expecting all this to move to the east, move into the Twin Cities. See a little bit closer to 3 and 4 o'clock. We should start to see a little more of that rainfall entering into the metro. But it is looking like, as far as the ingredients are concerned, the ingredients are going to be a little bit better to the west. And hence, we should see more and more of the thunderstorms with a little more gusto to them in western Minnesota. And as they move to the east, they may lose a little bit of strength. That doesn't mean we're not going to miss out on downpours. It doesn't mean we have no chance of hail. What it means is hail risk does drop off, but there could still be penny-size hail, nickel-size hail. That's certainly a possibility. Wind gusts out there, maybe not 60 miles an hour, but you could get a 40, 50 mile per hour wind gust. You'll see the trees whipping around. And certainly, I think one of the biggest things you're going to notice with these thunderstorms, the downpours. It is looking like it'll be pretty favorable for some pretty heavy rain. Two things that really haven't changed in the outlook have been the wind and the hail. Hail really favors, call it the western half of our region. Wind, maybe the western half to 2/3 of the region. That really hasn't changed over the past 24 hours. Since this morning, we first of all saw the tornado elevate to low, so it was brown. And then as we got closer to the noon hour, we saw it go into elevated. So again, that's where our low is centered up right now. Our cold front's back to the west, and then our warm front's draped out here. All of that is a prime shear environment. This does not mean that we're going to have widespread tornadoes, but that isolated tornado risk is there. And again, highlighting west central, northwest Minnesota. So we'll be watching that very closely. But in the meantime, as these storms move to the east, again, do not be surprised with some of that small, even medium-sized hail and some pretty good winds. They'll continue to build back to the southwest out ahead of that cold front. We should see that moderate rain push to the east, Brainerd, Grand Rapids, Duluth area. But notice it's a little more of just kind of widespread heavy rainfall. Back to the southwest, these are discrete, individual thunderstorms. These discrete thunderstorms here, those are the ones that are going to have that quick spin-up tornado possibility. And quite possibly when you start to see those purple reflectivities, the purple shows up in the radar, that's indicative that you likely have some hail embedded in there. And this is where we would expect that hail to be. Also, for folks around Moorhead, Thief River Falls, you get to places like Detroit Lakes, even up towards Bemidji. These cells here could also have those quick spin-up tornadoes as you go from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock to 6 to 7 o'clock. Notice, again, still isolated thunderstorms, widespread, moderate and heavy rainfall, Brainerd to Duluth right now. Still a few discrete cells out there, Alexandria to the Brainerd Lakes area, even some up around the Bemidji. Those are the ones we're concerned about when we talk about that quick spin-up tornado. 7, 8 o'clock. This is when the front's going to start to lay down and move through central and southern Minnesota. Still some isolated strong thunderstorms. Wilmer, St. Cloud, Twin Cities, 8 o'clock tonight. More of that widespread heavier shower is now into western Wisconsin, and we're still going to keep an eye on some of these cells here. Now, it is getting to 8 o'clock. We're losing that daytime heating. We don't have the intense sunshine out, or even whatever sunshine we may have through these afternoon hours. But at 8 o'clock, the sun is starting to be pulled out of the equation. But that being said, again, we still have some long-lived thunderstorms still kind of thriving there. And again, with just a little bit of shear, they have that longer life. So we're going to start to see things as you get to 8, 9, 10 o'clock, trying to get south of the metro. But as I mentioned earlier, towards Mankato, towards places like Northfield, Owatonna, as you get closer to Hastings or Red Wing, even into western Wisconsin, we could still see them lingering around the area, even 10, 11 o'clock at night. Get into the overnight hours, things finally quieting down. But that low is still in the region, and you're going to see this rain wrapping around. So still some isolated thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. Notice we have some sunshine. So there we go with that destabilization, heating up the surface, getting that atmosphere primed, and still some of that wrapping in and coming in from the northwest. Now, I would say for the Twin Cities, the way things look right now, not a great chance of those isolated thunderstorms, but as you go north of 94, that's where there's that better chance. Again, you have that low sitting up there, you still have that sheer environment, and you have a longer lived shower thunderstorm activity. Again, not anticipating that we're going to have any big outbreaks of thunderstorms or severe weather, but certainly going to be some thunderstorms that are going to get your attention. As far as the precipitation forecast, great to see the rain across northern Minnesota. They definitely need it. But what's going to happen is where you have those thunderstorms, again, moving to the east, you're going to pick up some good rainfall, upwards of an inch plus. And then other areas that are going to miss out on those thunderstorms, kind of threading the needle there, those rainfall totals are going to be significantly lower. So this isn't kind of a equal opportunity for everybody to get in on the heavy rainfall, but nonetheless, where it lands is certainly going to be considered beneficial rain. We'll take a look at that 7-day forecast. I'll step out of the way. I'm also going to take a look at the weather service feed here and just see if we have any updates. And right now it doesn't look like it. I'm also going to check to see if we have anything in terms of a new watch box. Have not seen that come up either, because they were talking about possibly the issuance of a watch box, at least in the western half of Minnesota. That still has not happened. So for today, for Tuesday, we do have our afternoon, evening thunderstorms. As I mentioned, for the Twin Cities, we are going to be talking about I would say upwards up until about at least 8 o'clock. If those thunderstorms don't sink far enough south, it's going to be a busy night. It's going to go into the late night hours. Tomorrow, isolated rain chances. Certainly would not anticipate we're going to have a day like today on our Wednesday. Pretty nice weather there for Thursday. But notice as you go from Thursday into Friday and into Saturday, look at where your numbers are going. We are starting to climb. Heat and humidity building in. You're going to have some upper 50s, low 60s for overnight lows. Those low 60s are going to turn into mid 60s and near 70 degrees. That is indicative of a climbing dew point. That's when you know the dew points are going to be taking off around here. So watching for some isolated thunderstorms Friday evening. The other thing that happens this time of year, when you get a lot of heat, a lot of humidity building in, we get this southwest wind, we will see a lot of heat and humidity. You'll feel it building at the surface, but aloft, it'll be even hotter. So it is looking like for Saturday and possibly into Sunday right now that we'll be so warm aloft that it will act as a cap. It'll keep everything from popping, and that likely could keep our weekend dry. This is still a little bit of a question mark, because all you have to do is break that cap a little bit and it can set everything off. It is looking like, though, as you go from Monday even into Tuesday of next week, we'll have a bit of a temperature boundary, a front somewhere in the region. That'll act as a trigger mechanism, but if that front is far enough north into northern Minnesota, which it looks like it will be, we could see thunderstorms in northern Minnesota Saturday and Sunday. And meanwhile, when you're down in the Twin Cities, when you're in southern Minnesota, even parts of central Minnesota, we're going to be sitting in this sauna and looking north like that's where all the activity is right now, because that's where the front is, and nothing's going to set off and pop this heat and humidity into any sort of thunderstorms. But it is looking like in the forecast models, as you go from Monday and into Tuesday, there will be more dynamics at work, and quite possibly we could be talking about a big round of some strong and severe weather for early next week. We'll just have to keep an eye on it, folks.